Alright, and after a couple of days off, there we go. After a couple of days off when I was out of town, and you're back on Universe Zero with episode 4 of Act 6. And while I was there, I managed to get a handful of PS1 games after recently finding out that the PS3 can play PS1 games, which my dad didn't know it either. So I was kind of surprised to him when his Crash Bandicoot disc he got from like 1997 somehow worked on his PS3, which he never knew. And then it crashed before he could even make the crash, get it? The game froze before he even made a single jump, so... Like, he smacked the first enemy, and then as he was going to make the jump over the first hole, it just stopped. So I saw that 16 just got a terrible run there. Or, that was Ryan, that's just... So while I was down at my dad's, I got 5 PlayStation 1 games. I got Gran Turismo 2, which means I now have every Gran Turismo game ever. Need for Speed 3, Hot Pursuit. Test Drive 5. Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, naturally. And the Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction, which is basically Power Stone with Powerpuff Girls characters and villains and etc. Anyway, to the actual race now. Like the race at hand. Yeah, it's like the same, like, I guess, usual suspects, I suppose, towards the front. The 911s and 458s kind of dominate this championship, but I mean... Hey, 5 is better than 2, like it's usually been, so there is that. The KTMs do well on some tracks. As you can see, Blossom is catching that. Oh, hi Burn. I need like a montage. I don't know how I would do it, not having the actual like videos on my PlayStation or any other kind of storage device besides YouTube. Just like a montage after I finally put this series to bed, which I don't know when that'll be. Maybe when we finish off the entire Hot Wheels series, if we ever stop playing those, which I imagine will happen at some point. Or just like, I don't... It's become quite obvious that it's not anywhere within the like immediate future. You know, with the whole 8 games planned, and then also reruns of other games. Beat that, Velocity X, and Soundtrack Challenge. And I forget. I guess you're not the only one that forgets that name. Like, I'll sometimes forget it too, because it's honestly my least favorite. It's just like, World Races to me, it's just Soundtrack Challenge, but infinitely better. It has more different cars, and you think, like you said one thing about World Race, one thing that was World Race that you thought was kind of one of its downfalls was how all of the cars are the same. There's basically 3 cars on Star Trek Challenge. There's a sports car, a muscle car, and a heavyweight. There's nothing else, because Mega Duty, Super Tuned, Jester, and Overboard all drive the same as Switchback. The only real difference is the size of their boost bar. And same with the other 2 classes. Zodic doesn't drive any different from Muscle Tone, or Vulture, or Roger Dodger, or Ballistic. And MST Suzuka doesn't drive any better than Pony Up, or Power Pipes, or 24/7, or the Prototype 12. They're all the same. World Race, while there are general ideas of vehicles, like the speed and, or the speed and grip, speed and, like, speed and grip, the trucks, the maneuverable ones that have like acceleration and grip, the ones that have the balance settings, the ones that are impossible to drive, like 40 something, which is like the worst car in the game, bar none. Like, the best cars in the game are the ones that have, well, for like overall cars, you want grip. There's no reason to have a boost rating on there. It doesn't do enough. Not with some of the corners on that game. You don't really need that much. You need a lot of grip just to make some corners, like Emerald Crater or Pyramid Run, for example. It's not a question of should I, it's a question of I need it. So, like, you need it. Take from someone who's finished the game 25 times. Granted, that's not saying much, it's an hour and a half for the Elite League if you do it fast enough. You want grip, and you also want speed. Now, depending on how you play the game, you might want some acceleration. Some acceleration is fine, but too much of it and you get like to 170 and stop. Plus it affects the amount over 200 you can get on like a hill. So, like, you know, 40 something is not the slowest car in the game in a straight line, but it's close. But it also has handling that's almost as bad as a truck has. And that's no good. So, which I don't understand why 40 something of all cars has that. That seems like something you'd get out of a quarter mile coupe. Because it's like a dragster, all that it's supposed to do is accelerate as quickly as possible for about 20 seconds and then stop. But even it has 3 out of 7 grip, not 1 or 2, like 40-something has 1. Like, Wave Rippers, that's the worst team, because the highest grip rating is 5 between both Golden Arrow and Power Pipes. Dura 2 is third with 4. Every other car on the team has 2 or less. Backdraft has 2. No matter what, has 2. 40-something has 1. Switchback has 1. So no matter what is also not very good. Prototype 12 is honestly not that good either. It's better, because it does have at least top speed, but it doesn't have handling, which you would think that big wing in the back, it would, but it actually is really accurate to Velocity X, where on that game it doesn't have much cornering either. Also, Madison won the race in unrelated news because I'm ranting about World Race. So Captain Falcon had the fastest lap, but Madison has a higher top speed than Captain Falcon does, so... I need to remember at some point, I need to remember that I have to do the points at the end of these next two races. And I also like how, because I went back to the 25-point system for this one, 25, 18, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 3, 1, or 4, 3, 2, 1, I think. No, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. And, I'm almost guaranteed there'll be multiple cars with over 200 points. Probably will be Falcon, Alex, and probably Madison. But I don't think Byrne or Chloe can get there because there's 125 points left available. That's for winning in all 5 of these races. So technically speaking, even Bert could still win the championship. No, he cannot. But Blossom can. So right now, technically, everyone from 9th on up is still mathematically able to win, but logically, it's really between Falcon and Alex. Madison, she gets some good luck and some good starting positions, and maybe Falcon gets stuck on some traffic. Maybe he gets stuck behind Ryan Storm, or like myself, or perhaps, you know, gets wrecked by certain individuals that don't really know when to brake or how to drive around other people. Like, tell me, Byrne, were you in, like, Road Rash or something, or some sort of, like, intergalactic race before you joined Stunt Track Challenge, where things like running each other off the road were normal? I mean, I guess F-Zero is kind of like that, but Captain Falcon's an F-Zero character, and he's actually driving like a normal, like, you know, helpful person, respectfully, and trying to avoid his opposition. But Byrne is just, like, my way and or the highway, and, yeah, he will now receive that position. And it's funny, because, this is jumping back and forth between topics here, but Turbo Racing, before I was doing this recording, I was going back and forth between some of the new PS1 games I got. I did Turbo Racing, some Need for Speed 3, and I also did, like, 1/3 of the Powerpuff Girls Power Stone game. I would wholly recommend LPing the 2 Game Boy games for the Powerpuff Girls, and Relish Rampage if you're actually really into the show. I would not really recommend Chemical Extraction unless you, like, I mean, it's a fine game, but it's not much good to Let's Play because it's, you know how beat that is, like, the 3 difficulties, like, well, you know what I mean, like Turbo, Nitro, and Inferno, Disco Inferno, I don't know. Yeah, well, they're not different difficulty settings, but at least I would assume they're not. You have to complete the story mode with each of the 3 Powerpuff Girls to unlock the final battle. And it's not, like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's an easy game. It's probably harder than you'd expect it to be going in. And I was definitely caught slightly off guard by it. There's actually a few interesting mechanics that have some sort of depth to them, but it's like, there's not much point in them being there because you can you can have success just as easily by ignoring them and just mashing circle X and square the entire match, and occasionally triangle, because you can pick up like objects in the fighting area and throw them at the opponent. One reason why it's kind of like Power Stone, or the DS version of Atlantis SquarePants would have that kind of arena fight mode, sort of like that too. Which I had the DS version of that game. I did not have any of the other systems, and like it's hard to describe. Like, I did indeed watch the well, one reason why, just because I wasn't so into them and you seemed to know what you were doing in the SpongeBob games, but I guess actually no, I know exactly why, because I do enjoy SpongeBob and their games, especially Creatures from the Krusty Krab and Battle for Bikini Bottom, and Lights Camera Pants to a certain extent, but I don't really play it much because, like, it's a party game. It kind of it largely relies on you having other people to play with, and I don't have anyone else to play with. I am a lonely person, and sometimes it's better that way, and other times it isn't. Like, I enjoy being alone most of the time, but if you were to catch me when I wasn't doing something important, like a league racing event or something, and asked if I wanted to play Uno or Monopoly with a group of people, I would almost certainly say yes. Or if it were like, I'd like a birthday party, no, that would be too many people. Like, I have a limit of people I can tolerate, and the kind of people they have to be for me to tolerate them for any length of time. General rule of thumb is if they're half my age, I'm not gonna put up with them too well. So if they're like younger than 9 years old, we're gonna have a bad time, because I have no patience for kids. And everyone always wonders like why I don't like, because my cousins, two of the three of them, already have little kids, like little toddlers, like less than a year old each. And everyone's always wondering, like, why don't you ever visit the babies? And it's like, I will say hi to the babies when they can say hi back. Until then, all they ever seem to do is cry. And I think they take it from their moms, because they whine a lot too. And, like, they cry and stink up the entire room. That's seemingly the only reason that they exist at this current time. Again, I know that changes after a couple of years, to a point. They also all have that awkward phase of, you know, you can't take them into public because then they actually know what they want and they won't stop until they get it. Like, you know, the little kid can't get the, you know, box of, like, Lucky Charms, or he can't have the candy bar, or whatever it might be, and I should probably be watching other cars. This is, it's like, it's either you can focus on the racing, or I can focus on the commentary. Because I can pull topics out of nowhere, and discuss them for a decent bit, even to myself, but, like, I'll get so into said topic that I'll forget what else I was supposed to be doing. And I'm definitely calling this one the Monologue. That's predetermined episode title. And before, it's not actually called that because I'll probably forget the name, but alright. Burn is catching Madison. Let's see how he treats a lady. I think Burn's actually playing Mass Effect. He's not playing Assetto Corsa. Oh. How'd that damage the front end? Yeah, so back to the SpongeBob game topic. I have played 4 of them. I've played, well, at least I say play, I've played 5. I hardly count Atlantis Scorpantis though, because I didn't get anywhere in the actual single, like, story mode of it. I just didn't have, like, when it comes to handheld games, I don't have the patience for a game with much to it. My kind of handheld games were, my DS games were mostly My Sims Racing, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, and the Phineas and Ferb DS titles. Nowadays I use the DS to play Game Boy games, such as World Race, Velocity X. Sadly not Stunt Track Challenge. I had it and I don't know where the heck it went. I've had it for 10 years, I don't think anybody knows, and I also have this funny feeling that I will never know. The 2 Game Boy Advance games that the Powerpuff Girls had, the one that, like, Mojo Jojo Go Go and Him and Seek, which is a a fetch quest game. But I think is also the one that most accurately, like, goes off the source material. Just off of, like, what the girls are capable of doing. The PS2 one / GameCube one, which is Relish Rampage, is a decent game as well, but most of the time people will always say it gets repetitive, and it's functional enough, unlike the Game Boy Color games, and to a couple of certain extents, the Power Stone game from the PS1 and the N64, which, if you were to play one of them, you absolutely play the PlayStation version, because the N64 version is not polished at all. I don't remember the exact reason, but there was like a there was an input you could do that just made like a shockwave, and they kind of pulled the Sonic with 6. You were supposed to be able to do that like once every 10 seconds. They didn't implement that, and you can literally do it like repetitively and defeat the opponent in like 5 seconds. Because on top of being able to do it like 6 times a second, it also does 10 damage, so you do it 10 times and the enemy is down, and you can literally kill them in like a second and a half or so. If you can like get like the majority of the fight is just going to be walking up to them. That will take longer than just control V'ing their health bar, like control alt deleting their health bar. Like it's like when I first saw the game, I watched it on the N64 and I saw someone do that, and like the character taunted, and before they could finish saying, "You think you can beat me? You think you can beat me? What? He's caught up!" Like, before the enemy could say, "You think you can beat me?" they were already dead. Like, what? So, the PlayStation removed that, and also the N64 version only had a singular song for the menus, and then also for all 8, like, arenas, and now they actually changed that in the PS1 version. They have 10 different songs. Awkward silence. This isn't even the full course. Why'd that take so long to load just now? This is just the road course. There's no oval. Timing. The Audi's starting. Well, no, actually, no. I'm done. Burton's on an Audi R8. He's in a Ferrari. A Ferrari, yeah. That's exactly what it is. There's a Lancia billboard, but Lancia cars are not in this game. That's weird. I just thought of that now as I saw the billboard off to the left. Lancia is another Italian car company, and it's not like they're not in video games. They're in a few Gran Turismo titles. They've been in the Forza Motorsport games for a while. You find them in some rally games too, like the Dirt series, or like the licensed rally games as well. And you would think this game being Italian, that they would try and get Lancia, especially if they put a billboard of it on one of the company on one of the courses, but I guess not. Then again, the majority of the lineup being specifically for rally cars, and then this game not really having a rally course of any variety, maybe it was a pointless endeavor, so who knows, maybe it's just there for historical accuracy. Not that easy. That doesn't sound good. Yeah, the KTMs, or the Powerpuff Girls, really won't do too well here. They can't get to 150, whereas their opponents can get to like 190 in some cars. Even Danny and Vert's Supra can get to 180, I think. And it also is one of the RX-7's mildly better tracks because of all the straight lines. The RX-7 has some decent top speed, but it doesn't have great acceleration or all that much handling either. And one without any of the others isn't really the greatest combination, especially given that there are some vehicles here, e.g. the 911 and the 458, that have a good mix of all three. Being faster than the RX-7 and having like twice as good handling as the RX-7 does. Chloe is leading. That's what we're doing now. We're just gonna yawn every 12 seconds. Yeah, I don't think we even get to 150 here. No, barely. But meanwhile, I think cars like, well, watch Alex down the straightaway and we'll see just how fast, or the next straightaway and we'll see just how fast his car is for comparison. Yeah, it's like already there in like a quarter of the time frame, and this is also a shorter straightaway, so as Alex mows the lawn for a moment. If either one of the girls finishes in the top half, it's like miraculous. Now we'll actually see what the limits of Alex's car really are. Yeah, that's going to be 180, and the Porsche is actually faster by a little bit. Anyway, topics. I guess I can try and... I always do this, I'll just keep... If I start jumping between topics, I'll never finish one specific topic, and I'll just remember like 10 seconds later, or like 10 minutes later, and be like, oh yeah, this that I was, you know, talking about 10 minutes ago or so, and the other person I'm talking to has probably entirely forgotten about said topic by this point. Ryan's car has some damage. I don't know if that was his own doing or if that was someone else. I think Bubbles might score 1 or 2 points. Rather than how much of a pain in the butt Ryan is for Silhouette. Both their cars have identical damage like indicators, so I think they might have either hit the same wall or they hit each other. See, I watched the console SpongeBob Let's Plays, but I didn't watch the handheld ones because of the most of the time handheld games are, of course, just like cut down versions of the console ones with much worse graphics to boot. Of course, one exception, obviously, a well-known exception being Hot Wheels beat that, where the DS version has some optimizations that the Wii and other console versions do not have. Alex is right on her doorstep, but just doesn't seem to have the nerve to try and do something. And so I think with that, Chloe will go on to take the victory in this race, not this event. Not this event. That doesn't make any sense. Danny with 5th place. That's got to be a high for the super team. And Bubbles will actually score 8th place, which is worth 4 points, which is 4 times more than I thought she'd get. But, like, I never comment on those, because it seems to me you know more about them than I do. And the main reason why I commented on their Hot Wheels videos originally was because I knew there were things to Velocity X that you wouldn't know, and I've been around to explain them. Similarly with the other intricacies of, like, don't hit boost pads on World Race if you're already doing 200, because they'll just slow you down. Falcon gets up to 187 points, which that itself isn't even enough to take the lead from 458s, and that's before I've even added their points. Alright, before we finish off for the day, the point standings is honestly kind of set in stone already. Bear in mind that the most you can score from a single race is 43 points, and that's if, like, you get a 1-2 finish, which hasn't happened yet. So right now, there's 130 points on offer, basically. And I'm going to start at the bottom. Last is myself and Ryan Storm with 36. Then it's the Golden 2, Sectionals and Governor at 46. Then it's the Supras, Danny and Vert at 74. In fifth are the Powerpuff Girls at 147. Fourth are the Audi R8s, that and So What at 149. Captain Falcon is third with 187, obviously. The Porsches, Madison and Chloe, are at 239. They are in second. And Alex and Byrne have 314 points, meaning even if they, like, basically, if Madison and Chloe finish first and second in this race, I'm trying to math here. They don't need to score 13 points to clinch the title. And that's a big if, but basically 13 points means if one of them gets a top 3 finish. Like, if one of them is on the podium with the 2 Porsches, then they've basically automatically won the championship with that. Actually, no, that isn't correct. There's 3 races left, so ignore that. But right now it is 75 points between the two teams, and like I said, most you can get from a race at the first, second finish, or 1-2 finish, is 86. So scoring just top 4 would be enough to secure, like, the points lead would last for an entire extra race. Meaning, by most logic, they have won already. Captain Falcon alone can't even do anything because he can only get 25 points per race. The most he can do is he can just try and remain ahead of the KTMs and the R8s, which really shouldn't be that hard. Though, these next 2 tracks are tracks that really suit the crossbows better than the last ones have, so maybe the Powerpuff Girls can at least steal 4th or maybe even 3rd, if with any amount of luck, in team points. But I can't really say that there's any kind of, like, high chance that Bubbles gets 5th in the standings. Chloe being in the overall superior vehicle. I suppose we don't know until we do it. And I'm not going to be doing it right now. That'll of course be tomorrow. But for now, that's all from Universe 0. I'll have to do with F-Zero, despite the fact that Captain Falcon is here. Anyway,